What's up? Let's talk about the Geau Sport Axiom 2.0. So really quick backstory, Chris Pagot, hence Geau Sport, the guy who designed this bag. He grew up playing tennis, stopped for 20 years. When he picked it up again, he was like blown away, like, wow, racket technology has come such a long way. But on that same token, he was blown away by the fact that bags had remained virtually unchanged. So having had spent the vast majority of his career as a product manager, he saw an opportunity to essentially create this. I bring that up because if you've been in the search for a bag for tennis, for pickleball, for paddle, I think it paints the landscape pretty well. There's just a lot of bags that are whatever, that are overpriced for what they are. They're cheaply made for the most part. So I really do appreciate overall what he has done with this bag. The bag has a very unique look, right? It doesn't have loud branding on it, loud colors. If it didn't have rackets or paddles sticking out of it, you would probably never know that it was designed specifically for racket sports. So I think it will attract a very specific type of person. If you want something more understated, potentially something versatile enough that you can take to work and commute with and then go straight to the courts with, this bag does that in a way that really no other bag does on the market. So that's something I appreciate. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of the bag, there's a few things that did stand out to me as pros. Number one is this quick access racket pocket, right? I grew up playing tennis. I am using it for pickleball and for paddle. It fits 2 tennis rackets comfortably. I think in many ways it works even better for pickleball because the rackets protrude a lot more. But as you can see, it fits them super comfortably. It just makes it super easy to get in and out of without having to access the main compartment of the bag. This is, if you're looking at this for paddle, I don't know if it'll fit 2 paddle padas comfortably, but 1, it absolutely does. So second thing I appreciate about this bag that I wish all bags did is just having a dedicated sunglass compartment. So you're gonna see this protective clamshell-like exoskeleton. It's nice and padded. And you can throw not only sunglasses in here, but you'll see that there's also just like a zippered compartment for your phone, keys, things like that. And then just lastly, the shoe compartment. I know a lot of people might not care about a shoe compartment. Even if you don't, this is perfectly usable space for other things. If you don't use a shoe compartment, what is unique about this bag is that it incorporates the shoe compartment on the side of the bag rather than the bottom. So if you find yourself like hooking your bag to the courts more often than standing it up, you've probably found that getting to the bottom of your shoes, they fall out. If you're not holding it right, putting them back in, it's kind of a pain. So when it's hooked, it makes it really nice to get into the shoe compartment. So I'll get into the actual shoe compartment here in a second. But as far as the bag itself, to give you the full tour, the majority of the fabric is this 420D polyester ripstop. Similar to what you would find in like an Osprey or another technical hiking bag. It's both lightweight, but also durable. You do have in the bottom a 500D Cordura, a little bit more ruggedness, a little bit more abrasion resistance. You also have that here on the water bottle sleeves. Cool. So I guess we can start with the water bottle pockets because I think it's one of the strengths of this bag. You've got 2. One is shorter and carries less volume. It also shares the same side as the shoe compartment. With that being said, you can fit a tumbler in here for like coffee and things like that. But it also has a magnetic attachment, so it just latches, gives you a little bit of security and just keeps the bag nice and flush. If you've got nothing in there, you can throw your phone in there if you want. There's other places for your phone or belongings, but that's one place for it. The big water bottle pocket is amazing as far as what it can carry. So this right here is a 32 ounce. This will pretty much swallow it. It fits perfectly. I typically use a 32 or 40 ounce. 40 ounce also fits really, really well. Where it gets a little wild is, if I'm not mistaken, this is like a 68 or 72. I mean, this thing is, you compare it to the overall diameter of the 32. It's big. I know there's people that like to take massive water bottles. Like it fits pretty snugly, if you ask me. So it is pretty wonderful that you have all that capacity for water bottles. The shoe compartment. On the inside, you've got this waterproof liner, so it keeps the stink segmented in the bag. You also have these 2 ventilated grommets just to keep the wonderful aromas flowing out of the bag. Showed you the sunglass compartment already, so before I get into the inside, here's the back of it. You've got this really nice padding. The bag is already lightweight, so it's very comfortable to carry. The straps themselves they're nothing to write home about. I would say maybe this is a good opportunity for a future iteration to do something a little bit more premium, just in the sense that there's nothing fancy about them. Like if you put these on a $40 bag, they would never feel like, wow, they threw really nice straps in there. Same thing with the hardware. It's just, there's nothing premium about it. It doesn't feel cheap either, but it's just pretty standard plastic. So I would say as far as the only area of the bag that for the most part doesn't stand out to me are the straps. Now, as far as the inside of the bag, it's a half zip design. So it's not even like a quarter zip design. You're gonna see you have up here another zippered compartment for grips, whatever you want to use, and then you have a final compartment here. You can throw balls, whatever you want. Has like a nylon liner fabric there. If you like to keep things tidy and organized like I do, they have a divider that just attaches via Velcro. If you don't want to use it and you just want more usable space in the bag, you can't get rid of it altogether, but it has another Velcro attach point, so it just goes flush with the back of the bag. So if you've got shoes in here, it pretty much keeps them segmented away from the rest of the bag. If you don't have shoes in there, you can tuck that liner fabric and then you have extra space for other things. Here on this side, there's plenty of space. They don't claim how much space, like what the overall capacity is of the bag. I would probably imagine based on the dimensions, overall fuel, it's around 30 liters, which is a good amount, right? Like if you're not carrying a ton of stuff, you've got a lot of capacity. If you want to carry more than 2 paddles, by the way, you can carry 2 comfortably here. You can carry another 2 very comfortably here, and if you're not using shoes, you can carry another 2. So you can fit a lot in here, unless you're like a tournament player that carries a ridiculous amount of stuff. I feel like even for tournaments, like this bag should work really, really well. So that is the bag in a nutshell. Now, these are my nitpicks with the bag, some bigger than others, but the first one being that while I appreciate the lightweight fabric that was used for the bag, because it does make it comfortable, you've got certain like hard structural elements in the bag, like that divider in the middle, like this sunglass compartment. But yeah, just the bag looks kind of droopy, saggy in certain areas. It just doesn't have a very refined finish. This is very much a cosmetic thing, but it carries over to some of the functionality in the bag as well. Before I show you that, there's like a little indentation, like a dimple here, instead of it being like super flush and just padded throughout. I ordered a second one thinking it was probably just a defect with the first, but they both had it, so it's not a huge deal. But if you're a little bit more meticulous like I am, just something to keep in mind. The other thing is that this bag does stand on its own, but that's very like dependent on how you have it packed. But it's like front heavy. So if I simply add, for example, my phone here, just that, it tips over, just like with the weight of my phone, which does make it kind of cumbersome. I've found like this bag being hooked and hanging is in its more natural element, but something to keep in mind. A lot of people don't care about that, but once you've had the luxury of having a bag that stands up very easily regardless of how it's packed, it's really hard to make that compromise. And then just that leads me to my last point, hanging the bag. So here in the back, you have a hook, right? Which is great, so you can hook it onto the court. The problem with this hook is that they only give you one instead of one on each side. So because the bag doesn't have a ton of structure, and when you have your water bottle, your paddles going in this direction, just the weight is all over the place. When you do hook it onto the court, it's not super stable. It kind of like jiggles around from side to side, making it not super easy to get in and out of. So my main recommendation is just to have two instead of one. And then also, minor nitpick, but they include on the hook a little rubberized cap. It is a miracle that I still have this cap, because 1 in every 3 times minimum that I have hooked this bag, the cap just like slides off and just pops off, and it's a miracle I can find it. So I'm sure I could just add some glue to it to like keep it in place, but just something there. I do want to call out, there are some really nice premium touches in the bag. So the zipper pulls themselves almost feel like the Tumi Alpha Bravo bag pulls. They're metal. These are fully articulated, almost at like a 360-degree angle. So that's nice because you can just so easily just go around round corners, and it zips very smoothly. You also have like a nice luxury touch here. The design language is interesting because it's trying to speak to different people. You've got a little bit of the luxury here in the grommets zipper pulls. You got the more technical appeal with the face fabric, like the sunglass compartment, and then you also have a bit of like a professional, everyday carry bag look as well. I think all in all, this bag, it's $150 for a lot of people. Understandably, that's a lot of money for a bag for pickleball. If you're the kind of person that you just view a bag as a vessel that you're going to carry your stuff from A to B to your hobbies, there's plenty of like good budget-friendly options in the $40 to $80 range. This bag is not for you. With that being said, if you're the kind of person that has looked at those options, you're not satisfied, you're willing to spend a little bit more money for something that is objectively nicer and it's going to provide you with more joy having it, that's where this bag I think gets very competitive, because in the, I would say, semi-premium to premium bag category, you've got $80 to $200 range, right? And that market is predominantly in pickleball, Selkirk, Carbon, Yola, tennis like Wilson, Babolat, Head. And yeah, those all feel, for the most part, like bags that were made by racket manufacturers that they just found factories that already make bags. They had minimal input on the material selection, on the overall functionality of the bag. Whereas this bag, you can tell the person that designed it is very meticulous, really thought about where things went, what materials to use. So I think like the Selkirk Pro Tour bag, for example, it's $200. I think this bag at $150 gives you a lot more value. I think it's even nicer than that. But if you want to jump into the next tier where there is a tangible yet incremental like increase in overall quality, design, material choice, you're getting into the $300 range with kitchen, ADV, vessel that are like in the high 200s. But yeah, all in all, if you want something that doesn't scream, I play racket sports, something a little bit more subtle, you're comfortable spending $150 as long as you feel like you're getting like good quality for it. I do think you are. So definitely recommend it in that sense. Cheers, best of luck.